Every government in history, no matter how well designed, eventually starts working for itself instead of the people it was built to serve. You've watched it happen. Is it inevitable, or did we just forget to build in a way to stop it? Think about every institution you've watched decay over your lifetime. The promising organization that gradually became about protecting itself. The agency, designed to serve the public, that quietly started serving its own. The law, written for one era that outlived its purpose by decades but never got removed. This isn't unique to any country or political party. It's what happens to every complex system left without a renewal mechanism. Power concentrates, insiders entrench. The people who benefit from the current arrangement get very good at making sure it doesn't change. And the tools we have to fight this elections, term limits, anti corruption laws work at the edges, but never at the root. You can vote out a politician. You can't vote out the system that made them. The US Constitution was written 250 years ago. It had a population of 2.5 million, news traveled on horseback, and the most advanced weapon took 20 seconds to reload. It has since created a global superpower. Newer democracies have followed America's example, but also learned from its mistakes. This is not a criticism of any founders. They did remarkable work for their time. It's an observation that the world changes, and our governing frameworks barely do. And when they don't, history has one answer for that: revolution. Which sounds dramatic until you remember that it's happened repeatedly within living memory in countries that look stable. Revolutions don't just cause death and destruction, they create crisis environments that don't produce careful governments. They produce whoever is strongest in the chaos. More often than not, that means militarization, authoritarianism, or both. The renewal we need becomes the corruption we feared. Nature figured this out a long time ago. Every living system renews itself. Cells die and are replaced. Forests burn and regrow stronger. Ecosystems churn through generations, each one adapting to what the last one left behind. We build governments that resist this process entirely, but it always happens eventually, peacefully or violently, by design or by disaster. The question is whether we're smart enough to schedule it. What does scheduled renewal actually look like? It's simple. Every 50 years, the entire governing structure goes back up for a vote. Not the politicians, the system itself. Citizens don't just elect representatives, they elect a new constitution, a complete framework for how their society will be governed for the next half century. Multiple candidate constitutions are proposed, debated publicly for a full year, and put to a national vote. The winner governs until the next reset. 50 years isn't arbitrary. It represents roughly the average voting lifespan of a citizen, the span between when most people first become eligible to vote and when most people die. It means every person alive is guaranteed at least one vote on the fundamental shape of their society, not just who governs within the system itself. But not everything resets. The framework operates on two tiers. A permanent founding constitution protects the things that should never be up for majority vote: basic rights, rule of law, free and fair elections, minority protections. These don't move. Everything else, tax structures, government programs, institutional arrangements, the active law that governs daily life, that's what gets renewed. It can look radically different from one generation to the next, or nearly identical if the previous version was working well. The population decides. And that's the goal. Not constant revolution, not perpetual upheaval, a system that iterates towards something better, trying different approaches across generations, measuring what works, discarding what doesn't. An iterative constitutional democracy. Now, some of you are thinking, this sounds incredibly destabilizing. What about markets? Institutions that depend on continuity? Fair concern, but consider two things. First, the things market and international relationships actually depend on: rule of law, property rights, basic rights, contract enforcement. Those live in the permanent layer. They don't reset. Second, stability built on inability to change isn't stability, it's pressure accumulation. The longer a system resists necessary change, the more violently it eventually changes. We already covered what this looks like. The other concern you might have: what stops a billionaire or political party from just buying the election? The power to buy the entire Constitution. A free and fair election is built into the foundation. Votes are anonymous. There is no mechanism to verify how anyone voted, which means there is no mechanism to pay them for it. Additionally, the foundational constitution prohibits unfairly targeting or rewarding any group. You can't legally promise selective benefits to a voting bloc in exchange for support. And if someone's pitch is, vote for my constitution and my organization will fund the programs in it, that's not corruption. That's a policy platform. If a candidate constitution generally benefits the population and has private funding to back it, the population should absolutely consider it on its merits. If you want to go deeper, I've written extensively about this and a complementary idea on Substack, link in the description, including how to incorporate preference voting, the topic of my previous video. And if you have thoughts, leave a comment. I'd love to hear them.